Hello, and welcome to an amazing episode of Misfit Toys Comedy. We have the supermodel, Arisce Wanzer, who happens to be transgender. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you?
I am so excited. We've known each other for, I'm not going to date it, but it's been a moment. We made it past the 7-year itch.
Yeah,
we made it past the 7-year itch. Yes.
Almost
yes,
8 years.
yes.
Yeah, like I mean almost 8 years. You were one of the first people I met in LA.
And I remember sitting on that lean rosé sofa and we were just talking, and I was like, you were one of the most unapologetically authentic people I have ever met in LA, still to this day.
Wow.
And that blew me away. That just blew me away. And I was like, okay. Like, so for those that don't know, you have broken down so many boundaries since you arrived in Los Angeles, arrived on the scene, and just give us a quick rundown of arriving in LA, being unapologetically authentic, and just a little journey in your high heel shoes.
All right. Well, I don't think I didn't set out to change anything. Like I wasn't trying to be a trailblazer, nothing like that. I moved here to quit modeling because I've been a model since I was 17, not to date myself, but I'm not 17 anymore. But I've been a model for a very long time. And I just kind of was done. Like I felt used up, burnt out. Like I didn't feel appreciated. I didn't feel like anyone cared about anything I did. And I wasn't getting any great gigs, you know, like I'd get something amazing, but it wouldn't pay well because I'm trans, I'm Black. They're like, you should feel lucky to be here. It was that kind of money versus like being paid what everyone else is being paid. So it was just, you know, it was depressing. And so I quit. Like I didn't want to model anymore. I didn't renew my last contract when I was in New York, and I moved to LA. I had $136 in my account and 2 suitcases, and I bought a one-way trip, and I slept on my friend's couch for 7 months. And within that,
do you hear this, people? Do you hear world? By the way, we are broadcasting live in UK, in Wales, London, New York, LA, South America, Africa, Asia. We've got Ray. We love you, Ray. What's up in Wales? We have like super fans from all over. So just so excited to have the world watching and listening.
Wow.
And I love this. They have this expression, when you raid an island, you burn the boats because there's no retreat. That's it. You show up. There's no other option but success. And there's one thing I remember that you told me that I loved was when you felt rich. And I remember you were like, I was walking down the street in New York with my Russian boyfriend. And when he got on the phone and was like, "На здоровье, здравствуйте, я хочу вот это," I was like, girl, you could not tell me. There's nothing makes a bitch feel rich than having a Russian mafia mogul on her arm walking down Fifth Avenue. I was like, yes. That to me was everything. I was like, oh my Lord, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you. There were some factors to it that helped as well. Like he was a model. So he wasn't really a mafia mogul. Everybody, I'm not that connected.
Mark, what's up, New Zealand? We love you.
New Zealand, fun. No, but and he had this Burberry fur coat. Like there was like this fur-lined Burberry coat as he's yelling at his friend for whatever. And he's like, "We go drink warm vodka now." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I love this. Like, I just felt expensive.
That to me was just so like, girl, you know you expensive when you have an oligarch on your side being like, "We're going to go drink vodka." And eat caviar. Yeah. Doesn't matter what they say. Everything's a little bit sexier than Russian.
Everything a little bit sexier. They love borscht and warm vodka and what is it? Latkes?
Latkes. They love pain. They love truth. They love honesty. They are brutal and honest. We have to move this straw that's poking up. I don't know what's this.
Oh, it's my straw.
Yeah, either you suck it or put it to this. It's like this.
I'll put it to the side. Oh, it's
perfect.
Like coming to get me. It's an avocado pit straw, everyone. It's like,
Totally made of avocado. We start with breakfast in BITCH. What's bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard in life? Do you have it like, A, what's your breakfast? And what do you have to BITCH about? We reclaim the word by spelling it.
Well, what is my breakfast literally? I don't eat breakfast.
So your breakfast is
I usually have sleep for breakfast.
Like I have sleep for okay.
I sleep right through breakfast. I am a great sleeper. I love sleeping. Breakfast food and all that to me. And so yeah, that's it. And then like if I would have something, it'd probably be like a pressed juice.
Oh, no, you one of those liquid diets. I understand that.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yeah, completely diuretic. No, but so then what do I have to bitch about?
Yeah, what's bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard? Doesn't have to be everything all at once, but is there anything that's
okay?
How a BITCH moment in your life right now?
I'm bitching because Bill Cosby is free before Britney.
Look, there are enough black men in prison.
But Britney Spears needs to be free first. And what about the 60 women that came forward?
Wait, is there a competition? Is it a competition? Oh, because I was literally on this. So this is like, so.
Okay, let's talk about it.
One of my moguls happens to be black. And my partner's in crime. And we were talking about like, okay, did he serve his time? Was his career and legacy ruined and tarnished? Did he, and can he do any harm out and about? Like, can he do more out and about?
Probably. He's a pretty able-bodied person.
So you think there should have been more punishment?
I just think if you're in for a crime and that's what you were tried for, and you have 60 people coming against you, 60 women. And so I'm just saying, if I was raped by someone, like if I was drugged and raped by someone, I'd be so mad if they got out after like a few months.
I don't know how to explain this. And again, we're going to get scandalous now. But if you go over to Kevin Spacey's house to play Scrabble.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, you know you ain't playing Scrabble. Like, there's no confusion. There's no confusion. You know what, like, you know, if I'm going to go in, if I'm going to go into another metaphor, I'm going to walk into a bird aviary. I'm going to get shit on. There's going to be birds. If I walk into St. Marco's Square in Venice and I'm covered in corn, pigeons are going to come at me. Is it?
My thing is, you don't know that unless someone comes publicly forward against it, because none of us knew any of this stuff. And so, like, because we all thought Bill Cosby is like TV's dad, you know? I'm a black person. I watch that shit all the time. And so when I was a kid, not anymore, obviously, I think they took it off the air, but like no syndication for Cosby's. No. So
I definitely,
if a woman goes to his house, like, so if a woman goes to his house and they don't know about 60 other women, like getting drugged and then raped, because the thing is, if they go over there, maybe their intention was to sleep with Bill Cosby, but they probably didn't want to be drugged.
Or were they like, I gotta sleep with Bill Cosby. Which drug can I do to make this actually like doable?
I don't think so. I don't think that went down. I don't think that went down.
No, and I do not by any means condone any type of misogyny, any type of inappropriate, unwarranted, unwanted, physical, anything at all, ever, not even remotely. One of the reasons we started Misfit Toys Comedy is in the comedy world, I don't know of one female comedian, entertainer that has not been raped, abused, assaulted, going to an open mic, at a club, in the green room, not one. It is one of the most dangerous careers for a woman, especially coming as a single woman. And the stories after we've hosted so many artists pre-pandemic, because when you can go to an open mic virtually, and it's very hard to, you know, you can't, it's hard to assault someone physically virtually via a computer, but you can.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single artist was able to say, no, every single one was molested, groped, someone tried to rape them on the way back to the car, in the grid, like not one.
Okay, but did they deserve that? Because they
no. So what I
was going to say, I have a question.
No, it's just to start the space and the thing that, number one, it's not okay. Number two, the conversation that how challenging, how difficult, how dangerous it is to be a woman in entertainment, let alone a woman in comedy. And now I would love to ask you a question. Have you been in danger? Has it been challenging not only to be a woman, but a Black woman who happens to be transgender and crazy hot?
I've absolutely been sexually harassed by, or touched inappropriately by photographers. Absolutely. When I was a much younger model, not now. Like
you shot with Patrick.
Demarchelier.
Demarchelier, see?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. You know, that I love
really
that.
Nice. He was really nice. He didn't come within 6 feet of any of us.
I love that. Like,
yeah.
That to me was everything. That the Devil Wears Prada. Like, oh, just get Patrick. And like, you're like, oh yeah, I just shot with Demarchelier. Yeah. What was it like to shoot with him?
Okay, well, what happier subject. I think that was one of the weird parts of the Devil Wears Prada, is because like they're pretending to call this person, and I know exactly what his studio and office looked like front to back, because I was there for 2 days. I think we shot for 2 days, but he was really nice. He had this older woman working the front desk. I'm sure they've been friends for like 100 years, and it was like a party upstairs, and he didn't really show up until the end of it. And he shows up, and you're like, hi, and he's got his chairs. They all say Patrick Demarchelier on the back. You know, his like director's chairs. And he was really nice, gave really great direction, was super complimentary, like just had nothing but nice things to say about me. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a wild experience, because it was something I didn't expect to do ever in my lifetime.
That's an iconic moment. For those that don't know who Patrick is, could you give context of the level of in the modeling world, in photography? Give us some context.
Yeah, if you've opened up a Vogue magazine, Vogue US, probably Vogue Paris as well, but probably Vogue UK as well. But most of the pages that aren't ads are shot by Patrick Demarchelier, or they were back when I started. So I don't know, the past 30 years, yes, like a lot of Patrick Demarchelier. But yeah, so he's a legend, and he also shot Carrie's in Sex and the City with the wedding shots. He's shooting Carrie, and the woman who actually wrote The Devil Wears Prada. No, not her. That was Plum Sykes, is actually sitting on set, and she wrote Debutante Divorcees, which is loosely based off of the same situation. But yeah, it was a little scandalous. I'm like, oh, is Anna Wintour going to be pissed about this? Anyway. Yeah, so, but I've shot with Mario Sorrenti. I've shot with some of the best photographers in the entire world, and they're all just lovely people. They were all professional. It's the experimental ones that seem.
How do you handle going into the lion's den when people get to the line, and how do you navigate that, shutting it down, but still keeping without burning a bridge? Does that make sense? How do you shut it down but keep the bridge from falling?
Sexually harassed? Well, well, I'm not like, I seem serious right now. I can turn anything into a joke. And so I would just turn it into a joke, like, oh my God, you're so crazy. I have to get out of here. You're a mess. You're such a mess. I'm gone. I'm out of here. And I use comedy to get out of it, just because I just want to go to Chipotle. I don't want to do this. Like, out on set, even on set for fucking 9 hours. Like, I'm just like, I literally was thinking about what I wanted to eat after this. I was not thinking about fucking you.
Well, obviously, because you were going for Chipotle.
Exactly. So, I know, but it's true. I just think like I use comedy to deflect unwanted advances.
I think this is such a good point. And for everyone watching, I have read articles I'm writing a book now about the power of comedy, and I do keynotes for multinational corporations about how to build rapport and trust using laughter. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite articles that I found was a prisoner of war. Mm-hmm. And they would make jokes with their captors. Like, oh, if you're gonna, me use the plastic bottle, not the glass one. And they would start laughing. And he would always make jokes. So when it came time to which one of these prisoners we're going to kill, no, they're keeping the one that's entertaining and that they've connected, because there's a connection that you build in a rapport and trust. And he was able to save himself by keeping the guards and his captors laughing.
Yeah,
and that power of that laughter saved his life. And using laughter as a tool to create trust and rapport and connection, and it's a tool that I think many, at least I know as a gay man, have used to get out of situations or to try to flip the script.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a smart tool, and it disarms people, and it shows that you're both having a good time. This is a mutual thing now, and now, this doesn't have to end poorly. So like, it shouldn't be happening at all, but there's just, as in the position of a woman, you're going to have to get out of sexual advances, because they happen in the grocery store, they happen at the mall, they happen at the club, they happen everywhere. They happen when I'm on my way to my car after going.
What's your favorite advance? What's your favorite pickup line that you were like, that was cute. That was cute.
So, what was your? It was this older Black guy who looked like my grandfather, and so that probably helped. He looked like my grandfather, who, God rest his soul, he was wonderful. But I was walking down the street. I was in New York, and I had just had a day, and so I'm walking, and he goes, "Oh, you lost something, baby. You dropped something back there." And I was like, "Huh?" And he goes, "Your smile." And I went, no. It actually got me. Instead of saying you should smile more, which is obnoxious, he's like, "Oh, you dropped something. You smile." I was like, "Oh my God."
That's cute.
I'm like, "You're so sweet." And he's like 70. So I was like, "Aw." Yeah. So it wasn't really a pickup. It was like, everything's going to be all right. But it picked me up. So
I love it. I love it. So you come with a suitcase, a couple bucks, a dream.
My dream was over. My dream was to start dating surfers and work at Starbucks. I wanted to just be a normal person.
So your dream has been to be a normal person, not a supermodel.
It was. Okay, so but I think it's kind of like it's like a practice of letting go. And so you want something, you work for something, you want it, you work, and then you're like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. And then you let it go, and then it comes back to you tenfold. And so that's what I think happened.
Oh, true.
Yeah, just because like you go looking, you don't find it. You go to sleep for a while, it's right on you. So, that's kind of what happened, because I think I was 2 months into my LA couch situation where I was just looking for jobs at different Starbucks, different coffee houses. And I met my now agent. He's still my agent at Slay Model Management. And it was during an interview, because I was a writer at the time for Original Plumbing magazine and a bunch of other magazines doing freelance writing.
Did you just say Original Plumbing?
Oh yeah, it's an all trans magazine. And
I thought that was like some kind of like Home Depot situation. I was like, what? Is this like part of like the Time Life series of like build your own? Like, I was like, plumbing, what?
Yeah, no, I was there, Carrie Bradshaw, so I wrote a dating column about my dating experience as a trans woman of color, and it was really funny. But yeah, I was writing for them. Oh, my agent had just produced a film called What's the Tea? I think it's available on Amazon Prime now.
What's the tea?
Yeah,
I'll drop it in the comments. What's the tea?
Oh yeah,
is it with a TT or
with the letter T? Yeah.
Okay.
Because it follows like all these transgender women in San Francisco and their lives. Anyway, so my agent is an Asian gay man, and he wrote to me and said, "I love your column for Original Plumbing. And he said, I want you to do my first interview for this movie I'm releasing on Hulu, because it was on Hulu at the time. I said, okay, sure. And it was, I think, my first interview I'd ever done. And at the end of brunch, we had a whole brunch together at Tarte on Fairfax. And so every time I pass that place, I think of how it changed my whole trajectory.
Not brunch on Fairfax.
Brunch at Tarte on Fairfax. And
I love Tarte, actually. Tarte,
yeah. We used to have a great brunch. I don't know if they do anymore, but I'll have to go back. But I used to go all the time, but because the brunch ran until 3 o'clock. Ow. And so we were there, and at the end of the brunch, he was just like, why aren't you modeling? And I never told him I was a model. And so I said, oh no, I quit. I'm done. I don't want to do that anymore. He goes, well, what if I could get you signed to an agency? And he got me signed to his friend's agency in Thailand. And then he was producing a show, and he was like, I'm going to produce a show about this agency. And then he was like, actually, I'm going to run an agency. And then he started the agency. Like, I was on the phone with him when he was driving to Sacramento to register at the Better Business Bureau. And we were coming up with names for the agency. And so I'm the first Slay model. And now we just had our second Slay model search competition. And it's been open for 6 years.
That's amazing. That is amazing. There's these, I always tell people, life is built in moments, not minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the moments are those, there's 3 moments in life: the transitions, the highs, and the lows.
Yeah.
And those are the things that resonate. And you have these moments that, like that, you transitioned into a different world. You moved into a different, boom. And that builds an epic dynamic life. Are these transitions, the highs, and of course we try to mitigate the lows. Mm-hmm. But you remember, most people graduating, the first day of college, those moments of transition. And being transgender, there are a lot of transitions. So your life, probably compared to most people, has so many peaks and moments and epic, just it's like a Zohar, which is the Kabbalistic Encyclopedia Britannica. Like, it's probably, am I wrong? Am I right? That it's that you feel that your life is full
I don't
of
know
like
anything about Zohar. Yeah,
Zohar is just like a big old Kabbalistic book. There's just a lot of volumes. It's like the Encyclopedia Britannica. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm instinctively, your life has a lot of moments of change and gravitas. What were some of, in addition to the brunch, what were some of the other top 3 epic moments in your life's journey?
I remember when my show came out and they flew us out for the premiere to New York. It was a show called Strut on Oxygen. Mm-hmm. We're on 9 billboards in Times Square. And so you could stand in the middle of Times Square and I could see myself on 9 billboards. And I just thought, wow, I made it. Like, I did it. I did it. Like, I left New York broke, annoyed, sad. And then I returned. My return was my first time back to New York since. I returned and I'm on 9 billboards and I have a show on TV. And so I thought, wow, okay. Like, all right. And then we had dinner at Whoopi Goldberg's house that night. So I was just like, don't forget to say yes to some things, kids, because I taught, like, was Cecilio, I thought he was blowing smoke up my ass. He's like, what if I could make you a model again? I was like, oh yeah, whatever, LA person. Anyway, I was like, whatever, dude. I was like, I'm past my prime. I'm exhausted. I don't want to play this shit anymore. And he really made it happen for me. So
it echoes RuPaul. So many, like, when RuPaul left New York and then was asked to come back, and she came back even strong. And that's when there's this moment where you let it go. And then there's that homecoming on your terms must feel so good.
It is a different feeling, just because, like, again, like, I left very defeated. Like, I just thought, I was so disappointed. Like, I was just so disappointed in the city, because I'm like,
May I ask how old you were at the time, just to give context to others that may be watching?
When I left New York, I think I was 27.
Okay. So you were late 20s, about to go through your Saturn return, feeling defeated.
Yeah, I came back at my Saturn return, and honey, everything came back. When I was reading up on Saturn return, it was right around that time because everyone kept saying, "Oh, it's your Saturn return birthday," and I was, and my show was on TV. I was like, I had Whoopi Goldberg's number in my phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these things were big deals that I never saw coming because these weren't dreams of mine. I just didn't think, like, I wanted to be a big time model. I didn't think television. I didn't think, I didn't know where it could go. And so Hollywood really guided me in the right direction. And I met some really great, wonderful people. And I've been this way ever since. Like, I'm not dating surfers and working at Starbucks. Yeah, I'm literally working. Like, I'm just working.
What would you tell younger Arisce, going back 10 years, you know, like what would you tell the younger Arisce?
I would say, do not second guess your instincts because you're always right. Because
That gut.
I've always been right about what my gut is telling me.
When did you not listen to it and it bit you?
One time I had to trust someone that represented me to do the right thing in relaying a message, and they did not do that, and I lost the gig.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I should have just done it myself. Like,
so sticking to that gut, really listening, tuning out the noise to really listen to that inner voice, that inner whisper.
Yep, listen to the whisper because it could really fuck you over.
They are vicious. LA can be vicious. Like it can be a definite challenge. I think
everywhere, because I've lived in DC, I've lived in Miami, I've lived in Los Angeles.
DC, baby. Where'd you live in DC?
I know I'm from Woodbridge, Virginia. So I say I'm from DC because it's 20 minutes away. So
okay, no. I'm like U Street, Cordoza, like Malcolm X Park, like what's like Columbia Heights. I don't know. Woodbridge is not.
No, I worked at a gay strip club in DC. It was called
Girl,
Wet.
which one?
Wet in Southeast DC.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord!
18 years
old. We have a moment. So for those of you who don't know, Wet was like this. Now there's a baseball stadium, but it was this.
I know.
U-shaped. There was a U-shaped bar, and then there was like a shower at the end, and then these like poles, and the thing. It was like a horseshoe with this. And I went there for the first time, and my boyfriend at the time told me, I'm not gonna say.
I was gonna say, working.
I was studying at Georgetown University on scholarship at the time.
Oh, work.
And my boyfriend, and I've never been to a strip club before. And I was like, these boys ain't nothing. I'm like, I could do this.
Get up, do it.
And he forbade me.
Really?
He was like, I forbid you. You will never. And I was like, why?
Tonight got me a job.
I broke up with him and entered the Man of the Month contest the next week. This was so epic for me. So I roll up, it's like a Thursday night. It's the Man of the Month. It's November. I've never done anything like this. I was so shy, I couldn't even use a public urinal. So for me to get up on stage when I was so body conscious and so ashamed of I was so shy. But I was like, I'm going to just, if you tell me no, I'm going to do it triple yes.
Absolutely.
We get into the green room, the back room, and there is, we're just going to call him Antonio. And he was the sexiest built Latin hot go-go boy that I saw when I was 17 years old sneaking into tracks.
Go down like this.
I dreamt about him for 4 years at university.
I know Antonio.
4 years. I dreamt about this God that I worshipped on a box for 4 years. I walk in and he's in the corner over there, and he's like, yo, Iggy. And I was like, yeah. You want to win? I'm like, what? And he pulls me over. He drops down my pants.
And gives you a cock ring.
No. And he starts to go down on me.
Oh, wow.
And all of my fantasies of 4 years start coming true. I was like, this person that I've worshipped as a God that was for me like everything before I even came out, knew I was gay, and I went to the club for the first time, and I was like, I think I'm gay because that's what's up. And I couldn't believe what was happening. And this was just like, and then all of a sudden, and next up, and this door opens and he just pushes me out on stage. And I'm like, with my socks on there.
Hard as a rock.
Won hands down. I won my rent, my insurance, my car payment, my books for that. Like, it was ridiculous.
I bought a lot of Versace.
Ridiculous. I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
I'd be a stripper again tomorrow. Okay.
I don't usually talk about this, but like, yeah, I coming from Georgetown and then working for the military and then doing this thing on stage was so counter up, but it was such a liberating experience to just break free and just be yourself and own your sexuality. And I had never been, I've always been ashamed, and I never was proud. And to get up there and just be full Monty and my socks starting to fill up and people to cheer and Bootylicious was playing, I was like, I was living. And
is that song triggering for you now?
Yeah. Whenever I'm like, where's the money? I need to make some yeah,
I love it.
And this sexual liberation, and I posted our flyer for the show, and it caused a little bit of a scandal because Facebook wouldn't run the ad, said it was too sexy. Instagram said it was too sexy, and several people within even the LGBTQ community were like, it's too sexy. And maybe, but I wanted to open up this like owning your sexuality on your terms is your choice. Mm-hmm. And what I loved is that you embrace your sexuality, redefine, define, own it how you want it, and we should be supportive of that. How long did it take you to get to that level of comfortability? Were you always like that, and is it a battle still?
I'm really good at compartmentalizing. And so if I so I was a virgin when I worked there. Like, I had never had sex before. I don't know if I'd even touched a man, but so I started working there because I remember I was on a cheerleading squad in high school, and cheerleader, a male cheerleader, walks in. He always has like a new Burberry bag, a new Gucci shoe. And I'm like, he's not rich. And I was like, girl, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm a stripper. And I was like, what do I have to do to get into this gig? Because I like clothes. And so I took my clothes off to get clothes. And so that's what really happened. And so I got Louis Vuitton bags, Gucci, all types of shit. And lots of
You did it for the money.
I did it for the money. I love money. Me and money are good friends. And so
yeah. Do you feel embarrassed being able to say that like I like it? Like I like them. Like I like the money.
Because some people exploit other people for money. I exploited myself. And I owned my sexuality, and I didn't care. I was a virgin. Like, I had nothing to be ashamed of. I didn't care. I was like, whatever, you're all looking at my naked body that's never been touched. So enjoy, give me my money. And I was, I got to be myself. So I had like long hair, mascara, tanner, like my cute little panties on, and my high socks, because I was the femme one. Because Wet was the diverse one. Because there was another one called Secrets, where it's a bunch of like hot mask for mask guys. And then Wet had somebody for everybody. Mm-hmm. So I was femme queen. I look much like I do now, but I just didn't have boobs.
I wish that we had crossed paths. That would have been amazing to have a little moment. They asked me to work there after winning the competition.
It was such a family too. We used to go, the guy who ran the place, his name was Dave, and he was a first grade teacher. And
the duality that we live in DC. DC is duality. Like there's so much duality in that city.
He had the most beautiful apartment, and he would invite us all over, and we would literally sit, watch movies, and have snacks and order pizza, and we were all friends. It was like a family. We all partied together. Like, it was great. And it was my first sense of like community in the community. And it was
community in LA?
Huh?
Do you feel that? Do you have community in LA?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a gays girl because that's what me and my friend Nova call each other, because we hang out with more gay guys than we do anybody else. And it's because, I don't know, I like being doted on. I like being their Barbie doll. I think it's fun. And it's like having 17 boyfriends that you don't have to have sex with. And so, yeah, so you get, they're all super nice. They're all super funny. They're all well dressed. They're all accomplished, lovely people, and they all love me. And so those are my besties, and that's my sense of community.
I love it. So I love that this is so fun that like one of the first senses of community was at the strip club.
Mm-hmm. Honey, that's why I stand for sex workers all day long. I'm like, bitch, if that's how you want to get your money, get your fucking money. And so people always want to shame sex workers, but everybody wants to masturbate to porn. I think it's very confusing. I'm like, you shouldn't be supporting this in any way, shape, or form if you have a real problem with it. Well, you're a hypocrite. There's something wrong with you. And if someone's choosing to do that, they should be able to do whatever they want. And so, yeah, I stand for a lot of liberal ass shit. That's me.
No. But I think this is interesting. It's like, if we were able to legalize and protect the way they do in the Netherlands, for instance, there are government paid sex workers that go into hospitals and cuddle, provide intimacy, and it's a government funded program because as humans, we need that physical touch and connection. And that's actually a service that's provided where they bring sex workers into hospitals to sleep with. Sometimes they're not able to because of physical conditions, etc. But that's actually a publicly funded sex worker program to help people. And those who actually participate in the program recover faster and have I'm like, I would rather take a pill or take a beautiful person who, like, that to me is so mind-blowing how progressive that culture is. And that just reminded me of that.
Yeah, it reminds me of like physical health is so closely tied to mental health. And so when you're given a pill, you're being manipulated chemically and it's going to have side effects, versus it kind of shows like this whole living in a simulation thing whereas if you simulate sexual acts, simulate intimacy, simulate all that stuff, it's going to arise. The same serotonin, the same feel-good chemicals are going to come over your body that would have been given you with a pill with no side effects, except that you know that this person probably isn't really in love with you. I'd hope you know that. A lot of guys at the strip club do not know that. They're like,
well,
yeah.
I was speaking about this earlier. Europeans come from, how many eons of kings, queens, royalty. The word is English is not my first language, by the way.
What's your first language?
Russian. Russian. No, I was born near Chernobyl, and I grew up in communist Russia, so I speak Russian, and then I learned English, and then French, and then Spanish. But so English is still not my first language, so I'm trying to figure it out sometimes.
Yeah, I just watched the series Chernobyl. Terrifying.
I lived that terrifying nonsense. It was just, oh my Lord. But
it's terrifying.
So in Europe, because of the feudal, royal, king, queen system, partnership, passion, and love are separate.
Interesting.
Kings and queens, people marry for contracts. It's a business situation.
Marriage is still a contract.
And passion and love are tertiary. And it's almost that love and marrying for love was a luxury for the people, but not for
nobles,
the ruling class, because they couldn't. Yeah. And let's see what Ray has. Let's see what Ray is saying. Can you imagine proposing that as a yes, Arizona needs a sex worker in the yes. Nothing helps you get over COVID than But the mentality in Europe and I've been watching Call My Agent, 10%, that French show about the agents in Paris. The way that the French see love, the way that the French, it's like the mistress is welcome. They understand that to be a king, to have a very dynamic life, a president, a mogul, etc. That's a lot of needs that cannot be met by one person. And they have a certain understanding. What are your thoughts on that? Do you believe in monogamy? Do you believe in
I don't think that we're naturally monogamous.
plurality?
I think we're not naturally monogamous creatures. I think a lot of societal norms have forced us into wanting to possess other people. And that's kind of where marriage comes into play, because it used to just be so a man could own a woman. So I don't know how long monogamy is going to last in this new age of just the gray area that is sexuality, the gray area that is gender, the gray area that is the spectrum of love, you know, because there are different types of love. You're never going to get the same love from two people. And so you can chase and chase and chase one person, but this person loves you the most. And that's the love you don't have to chase. And so I think people are going to be open to a lot more different experiences in the future. And if monogamy is part of that, I will be very surprised. But I think we're moving into an era where marriage is dying out. Hell, kids are dying out. People are not even having kids because everything costs too fucking much. And I think, I just think that people are going to start opening up things. Like, you're going to have your person, and then you're going to have your people.
So it's kind of like Russia, you know, like Putin. You know, he has his boys on the dacha. Everybody knows that he goes to the little summer house, and it's very European. It's just like, go to the summer house, girl. Because oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in big trouble. But like, girl, everybody knows. Like, it's like, stop. Like, but it's not. See, this is the thing. Why does it need a label? Why does it need a label? And this is where I come, like, I sometimes have to define myself for other people because I love women and I think women are gorgeous and delicious and amazing. They're just market price, which is too expensive for me. Like, it's just to treat a queen the way that a queen needs to be treated. I realized early, I would rather have a 401k. I'm going to learn to suck a bag of dicks. Like, I just have to, it's to treat a woman the way that she truly needs to be treated. And as a queen, but in the gay world, it's hard for people to hear that word bisexual. It's hard for them to hear pansexual. A lot of people need 0-1 binary, black and white. And I love the fact that you were mentioning that, yes, as we move forward, this gray of being able to, but sometimes do you find that you have to define yourself in a more basic distilled way for people so that that you're more palatable?
I do it when necessary and for understanding purposes, just so that people know the difference between me and her, because I think we're moving into an extreme time of individualism where everyone's just completely different. Like, trends are done. Like, sexuality, it's going to be null and void just because, like, they're fully burning down churches in Canada right now. So I'm saying something's changing. Something big is changing in the world. And I think Gen Z and beyond, like, these kids are moving us in a different direction, which is good, because this direction we were going was not good. It wasn't working. The divorce rates are higher as hell. I think, like, so many people are miserable with their partners. So many people are miserable with what society told them they wanted after they followed the formula of the American dream, and they're miserable.
That's what the pandemic, I think, brought to a lot of people, is that realization that, oh, I'm chasing this thing that I've always been told is what I want and need and is and it's not.
Yeah.
And there's so many times in Hollywood that you make a deal with the devil to achieve this thing, get this thing that you think is what you, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this redefinition. What would you, where do you see yourself, let's say 10 years relationship wise, ideally, what would that look like, Arisce?
Relationship wise, I'd hope I'd have a person to rely on. And I'd hope that we'd have an understanding that was conducive to both of us, like that it worked out for both of us. Let's say he had a mistress and I don't need a mister, but whatever. Or let's say
So it's not a monogamous relationship.
It could be. It could be. It depends on the person.
But it's someone that you can depend on, is what you said, was the first thing.
Someone I can depend on. It needs to be someone that I like. If I'm in trouble at 2 a.m., like I'm trapped, there's no Ubers, he'll come get me. You know, like,
because you want a knight in shining armor.
I wouldn't call it that. I'm like, I'm looking for an Uber driver.
Like, no, but like, you know, okay. See, I thought you want someone a little bit more chivalrous, but an Uber driver.
No, the thing is, I'm only going to attract a gentleman because I'm a lady, honey. And so no matter who I end up with, it's going to be probably a really nice guy. I attract really nice guys. And so some turn out to be jerks, but they're always nice to some level. But, you know, it happens. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want with a relationship in 10 years. I would just hope I have someone I can depend on that can depend on me as well. I'd hope that there's a balanced relationship in my life.
Okay. I love that. No, because I'm curious to see how people envision relationships, love, intimacy in the future. And what does that look like? And we can create that. We can manifest that, and just putting that seed and just planting that. And I love that the younger generation, I see a lot of them because they come to stay at the eco resort Baja Off the Grid, which is where I am right now. Mm-hmm. And so I have these amazing, I don't know if you read the article in New York Magazine, but amazing young creatives that come here and just find themselves and let loose. They write their albums, they shoot music videos, and seeing they're so fluid, where they aren't, you know, they're non-binary. They're not female. They're not male. They're not this. They're not that. Just because I had sex with this gender doesn't mean that I am this, or any of that. It means that I had sex one night with that person. Yeah. But it doesn't define me. And I love this concept of those actions don't necessarily, like, just because you had a intimate moment with a woman or an intimate moment with a man or intimate moment with a non-bi, it doesn't make you anything. It doesn't define you. Mm-hmm. And that was revolutionary, because I've yet to hear that actually come out of people's mouths, yet alone, you know, young, successful, articulate, intelligent creatives describing how not to be described.
I love that. And again, it's these kids, they're the guiding light to our future of acceptance. Like, they're the age of Aquarius moving on in.
Well, we're going to Pisces now. Aquarius is over.
Are we going to Pisces when?
So Aquarius was the age of the corporation.
Really?
And in the cycle, so we're going to get a little galang-a-langy. Mm-hmm. So in the zodiac cycle, it starts with Aries, first born, and then it goes to Gemini, boom, and then it goes around. And Aquarius is the second to last. And Aquarius is all about science, technology, ideas, new, and bringing people together to achieve what the one cannot, which is the corporation age. The next cycle is where the Pisces, which is what we're beginning, is the dreamers, where you are one foot is in the other realm, in the dimension, in what some people will call enlightenment, but operates at a different frequency. And as we're seeing the fall of the corporation, because what happens with a corporation is you lose the humanity. When there's a corporation, it's about the bottom line. We're losing the humanity. And as a reaction to that, we want the humanity. And here comes the cycle of Pisces, which is about every other sign embracing all of that and dreaming and being in both, and kind of it's breaking out of the matrix and stepping into that next space. And I'm excited to be alive during that
Me too, shit.
moment.
Because the other thing was not working for us dreamers.
It was
like, I need
tough. It was so, oh my gosh, it was tough. Give me one of your hardest DC moments. I want to, like, coming back home, give me a DC moment.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, my water truck is like running right now. Excuse me.
Oh, work. You're fine. No, I'm trying to think, because DC, I only lived there up until I was 18. Now I'm in my mid-30s.
No, but didn't you ever have like a crazy moment in DC? Like at the end of the night, you walk in the thing, you went to Annie's Steakhouse, you went like some kind of, what's your craziest DC
I always
moment?
went straight home because I was 18 and my mom thought I was sleeping over at someone's house. So I'd have to go straight to the other cheerleader's house and actually go sleep over. And so we would have like a kiki, watch Pride and Prejudice, like, you know.
So you've never had a late night DC interaction moment?
I don't think so. I think just guys following me outside the club to my car, but we had bodyguards.
Okay. So
yeah, because all those.
Give me then your favorite. I told you my behind the scenes, my BTS moment with Antonio that won me the Man of the Month contest. Right. Favorite BTS green room wet stripper moment.
I'll say it was, I think it was my first time. It was my first night actually working there. So you get to go back behind, you see behind the velvet rope, behind the curtain. And there are so many guys jacking off. And I learned what a cock ring was. And so they're just getting their dicks hard. So they're going to put the cock ring on. So, because that's their thing. Like, they're just going to have a cock ring on and they have their hard ass dick out there.
By the way, for those that don't know, DC's full Monty. So you're able to, it was one of the only cities you can be fully naked and have alcohol.
Mm-hmm. And then they would have on high socks.
Because we need to put the money in the stock.
Yeah, put the money in. And so, or they wear jog straps to put the money in, but you're not supposed to touch the belt area. So I just remember going back there and I'd never, again, I was a virgin. I don't think I'd ever seen a man doing that, like that in person. Like, I was like, oh my God. And porn was really hard to get in 2000.
So what went through your mind? Were you turned on? Were you scared? Were you, what was going through your mind? You walk in, there's all these crazy hot people pleasuring themselves and you're like,
I was intimidated because I didn't know where I belonged, because I'm like, I was high femme. Like, I look very similar to what I look like now. And so I was high femme and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And then I just thought, and they'd be like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, this is normal? Oh, I'm gonna see this all the time, like every time I come to work? Okay. So I think I was shocked, I was intimidated.
So turned on wasn't one of the things.
No, it was not. No, I was no, they were really hot, but I was so green, and I was a virgin. I didn't even think about, I wanted to have sex with someone that was special to me. Like, I was literally just selling my body for Gucci bags. I'm like, I just, yeah, but I just want more makeup. Can
I ask a strange question? And it might be, because I know that it's different because we're unpacking what it is to be trans. And for a lot of people, there are so many different variations, can you unpack for yourself, like, where and what does it, for those that don't know, like post-op or what is the, I don't know. Can you define that for those that are watching, that they can better understand?
Trans is it's a state of mind. No, I'm kidding. It's very much, okay, so sexuality is who you go to bed with, gender is who you go to bed as. And so, like, being trans is not a costume. Like, people compare it to drag, or they compare it to, and I'm like, no, you can be a trans drag queen. Absolutely. It's like a burlesque performer. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. So you're just putting on a show, you're putting on an act, you're doing a thing. But trans is not defined by surgeries. It is not defined by, it's not defined by what the government is telling you what trans is, because they're still very new and primitive in what their understanding of what trans is. Like we just literally this week, like the past 2 days, got an X for the gender marker on passports, on US passports, so that we can go into other countries and it doesn't have to say M or F. That's huge. You know, because now I can say X, and I love that. Like I'm absolutely gonna have an X passport because I don't want to be defined by a binary bullshit thing, because I don't believe in it, because so many like think of everyone who ever told you what you were and you weren't. And so there's all these social constructs that try to turn you into a profit margin, like male, female, 35 to 61 or 18 to 32. Like these are all demographics and groups where they just want to make money off of you. And that's why they don't like this gray area, because they don't know how to target you as a consumer. And so
well, apparently they do. Gucci bags and Louis Vuitton, they figured it out. They figured out the secret sauce.
But what was that? what was that? It's like, is that
so wait. So trans is okay. That you do not identify with your biological plumbing.
No, with your assigned plumbing, because
okay, well, you're assigned meaning we're born with it.
Yeah, but but there's an umbrella, because there's trans girls in my agency that were born intersex.
And so intersex is
they're born with both genitals or pieces of both genitals, and they get to choose or not choose whether they want to go one way or the other. And so there's a whole umbrella, like there's a whole thing that's completely ignored. And being intersex is just as common as being being a redhead on the entire planet. And so
I'm just trying to process this. I'm like, which would I rather be? Would I rather be ginger or intersex? Can I be a ginger intersex? Think that would be hot. Like that would that would be a hot with freckles and like the thing. Like I would be a hot ginger intersex like if I was like I would rock that. Like that would be hot.
I think gingers are hot, but
can you read this one? Can you read this one? Because
the construct, we are born and assigned man or woman based on sex characteristics, aka genitals.
So so gender is a social construct that's designed around the plumbing.
Yeah.
So when someone says that they're trans, are they saying basically, I am redefining my gender regardless of my plumbing, biology, birth, whatever? I
wouldn't say redefining, because I didn't change anything. I'm exactly who I was.
Okay, so just defining or articulating.
Yeah, I'm telling you who the fuck I am, versus being told what I am by a system that doesn't work, by people who are idiots.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. So being trans is articulating your own gender.
Yeah, it's
a gender. Correct?
It could be your gender, but it's just your natural feeling. So like I've never acted any different. I've never talked any different. I've never been any different. I've looked like this. Like you can look at my senior picture, it's the same fucking picture. And so, but a little worse because it was year 2005 and Paris Hilton was popular, lots of bronzer. So there was a lot of bronzer, honey. I was like, yeah, like I looked crazy, but the mascara was there, honey. And so what I mean is I knew who I was, and for people to tell me what I was bullshit, because I'm like, you don't know me, you don't walk in my shoes, and I'm never gonna be that other thing. Like when people are so anti-trans, I think I've literally asked a woman this on live, because she said trans women aren't real women. I said, so do you want to marry me? Or you want me to untransition and then marry you as a man? You want this? Because that makes you mentally ill, not me. Are you out of your mind? And so, or it makes you a lesbian. It's one of the two. Yeah, because I'm like, I'm never going to look like that thing, and I don't want to. Like, I like who I am. I like the way I turned out, and so I never felt like I was born in the wrong body. I felt like I was born in the wrong era, because we're not appreciated.
I love that.
Yeah, like because back.
I love that.
Yeah,
and being born in the wrong era, and I think that. From what I know, because I did the first ever transgender comedy festival in Los Angeles. I think it was in 2015, I believe it was. It was right after we met, actually. Yeah. And you were one of the inspirations for that. And
I was
you
not
were
doing comedy at the time.
no, because I was like, I've been in comedy for many years, and I was like, what is the voice? Because I truly believe to see the light, every color must shine bright. What is the voice that is not being heard on stage right now?
Mhm.
And I had to learn a lot because I didn't know anything about the trans world. And going to the LGBTQ center, and then I learned that there are so many different types of trans people that there's a trans lesbian. You can be a trans there are people who are post-op, pre-op, don't want to opt, don't opt, and it was such a learning experience for me, which I'm very grateful for, because I had no idea that there was so much diversity within the trans community. And one thing that I did notice is that the IQ across the board with the trans people that I came into contact with and with Trans Pride, they are ridiculously smart. Like, they're on a genius level, and they see things. And this is why I think this is interesting. Just a thought. Pisces is in both.
Mm-hmm.
Just like trans, you understand both parts.
Oh, honey, and we're both serving fish, honey.
And so maybe we are entering into the goodbye age of Aquarius. It's the age of the trans Pisces. Where do you feel that you understand the world differently because you have lived in both shoes, or you've experienced those?
Here's the thing. What I always tell women that try, like TERFs, that like try to be trans exclusionary, radical feminists, that's a TERF. And so they don't like trans people. And so what I try to explain to them, I've never lived a man's experience. I was never one of the boys. I never got boy privileges. I was bullied. I was othered. I was pushed aside. I was hurt. You know what I mean? Like, like things happened to me that happened exclusively to a lot of queer and trans people. These are not the lived experiences of male privilege. And so when you put me in that box, like, you lived in both shoes. No, the fuck I didn't. No, I didn't. I got my ass. I was tormented. I was not doing well. Yeah, I was not included. I wasn't invited to the sleepover. Nobody was nice to me. So please don't put me in that box, because that's just not the way it went. So don't act like I was the football star in high school and then I'm trans now. No, I was othered the entire fucking time. Because I wasn't enough for anybody. But I usually hung out with girls, and all my best friends growing up were girls. And
wait, you were the prom king.
I was.
Wait. So wait. You're the prom. So don't tell me that you don't No. You were the prom king, and now what?
Listen. Okay.
I got a powder.
No, yeah, I was gonna say don't get very twisted. No, I was prom king because I took my power back after coming out. I came out at 16.
Wow.
So that's when nobody could make fun of me anymore. And so I had my hair long, I dyed my hair blonde, I wore my mascara, I had my lip gloss on, I wore my flare leg jeans from American Eagle and Diesel. Okay, so I was serving female, honey. And so people wanted to vote for me for prom queen. They said they would not let me do it. And so I said, then I want prom king. And so I won because I was like, fuck this. I will ace all of you. And so the football star didn't win. The lacrosse star didn't win. This bitch won. And I looked gorgeous with that crown on. And I wore pink.
I would love to see photos. I can't. You gotta share.
I have to find them just because that's before cameras were normalized.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't have them in our phones.
What I love that also is one of the principles for MTC is we talk about transformative comedy, which is taking your vulnerability and putting it at the forefront and articulating with specificity what that vulnerability is. And what happens is your Achilles heel, your wound, your Achilles heel turns into your Athenian shield and sword. It becomes your superpower. And did you find when you embraced that vulnerability, you became invincible?
learned it from my mom, because I remember I came home just broken down one day just because everybody was nasty to me, except for like my friends. Like I had girlfriends, like you know, like the girls in the cheerleading squad, like we're all good. But like I think I got bullied really badly for like the last time, and I came home and I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do, because everyone laughs at my jokes. Like if I make a joke in class, everybody laughs. Like they know that I'm quick and funny. And they seem to like me there, but in the hallway, everyone is so nasty to me. And she said, honey, she goes, kids are dumb as hell. They're the stupidest people. She said they're the stupidest people on the fucking planet, that you guys literally don't know shit. She goes, you need to start acting like you are better than everybody else, and then you will be, because they'll think you are. And she said, people believe what you want them to believe. So you better act like you're the shit. And I've done it ever since. I've been a bitch ever since, and everybody pays me my respect.
I love it. I love it. The one quote that I was like, be the bitch you want to be. And I know that word triggers, but be that bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, and hard diva that you want to be, and they will fall in line. And you are such a perfect example of that. When like you no confusion, you showed up and I was like, yes, diva has arrived. There is no confusion. There is no confusion. And I love that that's that is the monologue. We asked the monologues, the matriarch, like, and I love that that was the lesson from, you know, your mother, is be the bitch you want to be.
Yeah.
Walk into the room who you see yourself as, who you want to be.
And I have to say, she led by example, so it was easier to believe. Everybody likes my mom. She's a nice, pretty lady, and she's nice to everybody, but she's that bitch. Like, she's very much that bitch. So she gets what she wants. She works hard for what she has, and she's just a lovely person. And so I thought, you know what? I could be like that. Like, I've seen her do that. I can absolutely do that. I don't have to be this meek, sad, wondering why nobody likes me person. I can just say, fuck you. I don't even like you. And so that's when it comes down to it. You're like, I hope they like me. I'm like, I actually don't like you. I don't even like these people. Why am I trying to impress them? I'm going to impress me. And so I'm going to go be a stripper and buy Versace. And that's what happened.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Where do you see yourself? You had so much success, but as many who have success in Hollywood, it is constant. So sustainable success is different than just success. You have the success, but sustainable success. What does sustainable success look like for you?
I would like
because you've had the success.
Huh?
You've had the success.
I've had success, but it's very you have to be your biggest cheerleader, like, because no one is going to wake you up in the morning and say, you got this. You have to think, all right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do now is what it really is. So as soon as you're done with a project, you'll already be on your next project, because all these things, they're moments. You say you're defined by your moments. These are moments. And so this could be your big break. This could be your big break. This could be your big break. And kids, a big break is when something great happens and it's got some momentum and it keeps paying you. And so, or it keeps giving you that fame that keeps paying you. And fame doesn't pay the bills. Money pays the bills. So you can't do everything for exposure, but pick the right things to do for exposure. And then you'll be rich. Because
so how would you like to be exposed? I know that there is the Princess of Bel-Air role that will be written for you, but
I think
that role, yes, and creating that role, but how would you like to be, and I use that word, exposed, meaning put into the media, seen, creative, like what project would you love to do? Where would you how would you like to speak your truth next? And in what medium and in what form and how?
Well, I would like to be represented accurately, just because people, like, if I'm cast in anything, it's always like a down and out or a drug addict or hooker number 4. And I'm like, I had a horse.
You're like, I'm hooker number 2, bitch. Okay, not number 4. Like, actually, I'm hooker number 1.
No, it's true that, like, I just the opportunities for trans people, there's more of them, but they're still not good. And so, like, I just got an audition the other day, and it was to play an 18-year-old who was on drugs and was a waitress and was sad that her parents didn't accept her. And I'm like, can we stop with this trans narrative where that's the only thing that happens in our lives? I don't think about being trans ever. Not ever. I don't wake up every morning and think, oh my God, I'm so trans. No, no, I wake up and I'm like, God, if I don't get to Trader Joe's before 5, there's gonna be no fucking parking. Like, let's have a real fucking story. We're just people that happen to be trans. I'm just a regular fucking person. And so, like, let's have a story of, like, it can be a rom-com. It can be where you find love or where you lose love, or where, you know, it's a story about inheritance and one of your parents passed and now you're fighting with your siblings, but one just happens to be trans. It doesn't have anything to do with her being trans. She just is a trans person playing the role. And so I'd like to move into that arena.
What I love is when we were making the flyer and the promos for the show, I purposefully didn't put any trans labels because I didn't just seem so like why. And I really wanted to, like, from my understanding, it's like people, and I think people just want to be seen as people.
Yeah,
I just want to be seen as a person, whether you're like, and even for me, I don't want to be seen as an immigrant or just a person. Just why do and I think moving forward for me, yeah, and we talked about that, like just being hot, being yourself, being fabulous, being that, just being that BITCH and having that role and not having to have that label or moniker moving forward.
Yeah. And it's not, I don't reject the moniker. It's just so passe. I'm like, we get it. She's trans. Move on. You know, like we know. Let's keep it pumping. Is she qualified for the job? Oh, good. Right? Like, oh, good. I'm like, okay, thank God. Can she do the job? Oh, good. Versus, oh, she's trans. I'm like, who cares? Who the fuck cares? Like,
so for those that are younger and about to embark on this journey of transformation,
okay,
what would you tell them? They are watching in Arizona. Hey, Sarah Gabrielle. She transitioned when she was 32, so she's later in life.
Work.
It's different for every single person. I have trans people in my family that are, you know, and I've seen their. What would you tell someone who is not in Los Angeles or on the coastal elite, who doesn't have the luxury of a giant LGBTQ center, open-minded, you know, like that it might be in Central America, not Central United States, excuse me. Like advice, thoughts.
I'd say be safe where you are, because it is dangerous in some of those places to be out and be yourself. But it's so hard to give direction to. I've never been outside of the coastal elite. I always lived on the coast. And I've always lived in like a major city. And so that's a luxury. Like that's a luxury for me. And so my advice to them would be run, get out as fast as you can. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, no, that's not funny. It's funny, but RuPaul said the exact same thing in her last, I would say her, but in his last interview, was he grew up in San Diego when it was very Republican and oppressive, and he got out to New York to be himself and surrounded by. So if your surrounding is toxic, and getting out is, and if you have the luxury to do it, and then surround yourself with people that are accepting, embracing, that is a piece.
I would say
that is definitely a piece.
Not so much the luxury, because I moved here with no money. I would say bet on yourself. Absolutely bet on yourself, because I will not go. It is a rule of mine. I will not go where I am tolerated. I only go where I'm celebrated.
Ooh, I like that. Go where you are celebrated.
Yeah, because tolerance is not acceptance. They are tolerating you. That is not the same.
That's, I love this. Yeah, tolerance is go where you are celebrated.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't go to flyover states. Like, I've turned down some prides where I'm like, you guys have dangerous laws for trans people there. I'm not going there. Where I have to turn down money, but I'm like, I'm not going to go there. I can't go there. I'm like, is there security? Oh, there's no security. That's very dangerous for me to be there then. And I'm probably the only Black person there. Because
I keep forgetting that, because I don't see things in color and so it's like as first we hung out, I just see you as Arisce. Then I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, she happens to be just fabulous, and we're just gonna leave it at that.
I'm every woman.
I love it. I love it. We are a little over time, but it's okay because we're just having fun, and I'm just enjoying you so much. And this is just so nice to be with someone who is open and is able to articulate what they want, how they see themselves, their journey. Can we get to how is it in the love situation? Is it complicated dating? And if it is or isn't, I don't know, what makes it complicated? The other person.
Right. Yeah. No, I think dating is complicated for everyone. So I don't think that's exclusive to trans women. I think it's a shallow pool for us, and who's going to admit that they're attracted to us, because if you're attracted to women, you're attracted to trans women. That's just a fact. If they're presenting as a female, you're going to be attracted to at least one. That's a fact. And so your attraction to me does not change when you find out that I'm trans. Your intention for me does.
Ooh, explain that to me now. Unpack that.
So maybe you aren't into the whole trans thing, is what they say. That doesn't mean you're not attracted to me anymore. That means your intention for me has changed. And so that means you maybe don't want to sleep with me anymore because you want a born assigned woman at birth. So you see what I mean?
I do. Because like I personally am attracted to people. And then the plumbing is tertiary.
Yeah.
And we just figure it out. And sexuality and sex is so much more than the typical missionary it can be so many other things. Have you, I don't know. All
right, so relationship.
Are there teachable moments? Are there teachable moments when you go on a date and you're like, okay, this is how this works? Or do people instinctively know?
It's funny. I don't date freshmen. So if I'm your first trans person, I won't be your first trans person.
So you're not the school teacher.
I did that in my 20s. I'm exhausted. Know what you're doing. I'm out of here. And so that doesn't mean know what you're doing in the sense, because everyone likes different things sexually. That's a completely different thing. I mean, if you're going to be afraid, embarrassed, ashamed, feel like you have to hide me, I'm not for any of that. I'm not going to go into your closet because I'm completely out of mine. I am a celebrity where I come from. You are not going to treat me like I am worse than your last girlfriend who works at Arby's. Sorry, Arby's. But you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I'm in Vogue. No, absolutely not. And so I'm not, no, I won't take that treatment. No, you should be bragging about me. You have a model girlfriend who is like one of the top transgender models in the world. And you should be proud of me. That's all. And so that's why I usually don't date first timers, because they still have a lot of growing to do mentally with that. And they don't know where to place you. And that's fine. I think everyone deserves to grow, blah, blah, blah. I'm not the girl to grow with. Like, you need to know.
No, you want a turnkey boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm
not trying to rebuild a house or rehab or redo or teach. No. Just you need to understand. Okay, yeah, you're not a practice. Don't practice on me.
No, exactly. Yeah, I need to. If you meet my friends, I need to meet your friends. If you've been to my house, I should be to your house. Just basic human relationship shit. I'm not a girl to hide. I'm not the one. And so, I don't think any girl should be the one, but the world we live in.
What do you dress up to go to the grocery store?
Yeah, not like I look like this. This is what I look like going to the grocery store.
Because you always look fabulous. I love the story of how you showed up at the set and they're like, "Can you just de-glam?" And you're like, "I'm not wearing makeup. I got a side ponytail and some ripped jeans. I cannot de-glam any less than what are you talking about?"
I love that you remember.
This is like my morning face. I wake up like this and I can't. What do you want me to go to sleep? You want me to go back to bed? I don't know how to de-glam any less.
I couldn't believe I remember there's been at least 2 or 3 castings since that happened, the one I'm talking about, and where they're like, "So we're gonna scale." They say it. We're gonna scale down the glam a bit. I'm like, I'm not wearing any makeup, and it's like my real hair, and then no, and I'm wearing a tank top and jeans. They're just like, "Oh," and you just hear them whispering, and I'm like, "I'm pretty, you assholes! Like, what did you want?" Like, ah. I'm like, do you know how many skin creams I wear a night to look like this? A lot. A lot. I'm gooey when I go to bed. It's disgusting. I'm not pretty when I sleep. I'm pretty when I wake. It's true. I look like a monster going to bed. I look like Swamp Thing. And so I'm just like, honey, this is the glam. This is it. I'm
No,
wearing
but
makeup.
you have this gravitas that you carry yourself. You have this gravitas. You are uber smart and very articulate. Does it take people off guard when you walk in and they expect you to be? Do you surprise people?
People who don't know me and try to cast me, I think they assume I'm going to be stupid. And trans people, you say that you've met some that have this IQ level that seems off the charts. We have never had the luxury of living on autopilot because we have to watch and assume everyone else's mannerisms. So if girls do this and boys do this, I don't want to get beat up anymore. So I have to start doing this so as not to get clocked as a girl. And so I'm trying my best not to act like a girl, like when I was younger. But you're from a very young age, you're learning what right and wrong are, and you know it is wrong to be yourself. You're like, okay, how do I act like him? I don't know how. It doesn't come naturally to me, but I'm going to try. And when you try, it just makes them beat you up worse. Like it's true because they don't believe you. You're not doing it well. And so, you just kind of have to lean into being yourself. And again, I think that's where the smartness of trans people comes from because we can't live on autopilot. We can't just, oh, this is this, that is that. We're like,
you've been trained from such a young age to be hyper perceptive.
Yes, where you observe
and analyze and take in your surroundings like this
all day
and multiply that times decades. Because most people just kind of float on through, and you've been seeing the world in 4K and taking it in 4K from a very young age. And so you have trained your mind to operate, and your senses are working at crazy speeds.
Yeah, constantly. I can see body language so quickly. I can read a room like that. Like if I tell a joke, it doesn't land. I'm like, oops, you guys didn't like that. And that's literally how I change it. Instead of attacking the whoos, and you're like, oh, okay, that was too dark. Okay, moving on. And because I can read the room, I'm like, okay, moving on. We're not going to do that joke anymore. And so when I'm doing stand up, and so trans people, I think we have a talent of reading the room. I know who likes me, who doesn't. We use our other sense of feeling a person's energy a lot because sinister people, you can clock immediately. I'm like, this person does not have good intentions for me. I'm out. Which is why I don't date freshmen. because your energy is all over the place because you're like, I don't know how I feel about this. Oh, I'm attracted to it, but I don't know how I feel. And oh, I don't know if I can go in public with you. I'm like, I'm out. And for that reason, I am out. Like, I'm not, no, none of it. No.
Before we go, if you care, if you dare, what's a vulnerable secret that we don't know? What is one of your Achilles heels? What is one of your secrets that you are willing and able to divulge?
I think a lot of people think because I'm so calculated that I don't get hurt very easily. And I get hurt by things that.
When was the last time you got hurt?
Ugh. I think I get hurt when people let me down.
But give me one moment that just happened recently where you were like, oof, where you didn't expect it. It just kind of.
It's
Come
funny.
on, come on. It's
And
just
it's not.
because it's sometimes it's such a it's never about what it is, right? It's like that iceberg. So what was that moment? That emotional Titanic iceberg where it was the tip, but it really wasn't. What was that moment?
I think it was okay. So one, there's so many. There's just so many. I think people. God, this is so hard. Because there's so many. I'm like, I need to focus in on one, and I'm just like, so
Yeah,
many.
just pick one.
I
Just
know,
pick
but
one.
I want to pick a good one that has like an
Okay.
impact, that could, like help people. Because I'm like, how would this help someone else? I'm like, not really.
It can help yourself. It doesn't have like
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just think, like, let's say,
no. It's got to be specific. What really happened? What was the moment?
God, I don't know. I don't know. Fuck me. Because I feel like I'm gonna say it. Okay. Whatever. So let's. Fuck me. I don't want to say.
You can whisper it.
Okay,
You
so
can whisper it.
something vulnerable about me is that I'm not easily vulnerable, especially publicly, because I like my persona. I like people looking up to me for good advice. I like people to see me as like a big sister figure that they can rely on for good life advice. And so I think when my message or my image gets misconstrued, or turned against me or made to demonize me because I seem so hardened, that hurts a lot because I feel like people don't listen to me. Like, I think a lot of people like the way I look and they think I'm funny and this and that, but they're not actually listening to what I have to say. And it terrifies me because I talk a lot and I always say what I mean. And so when my message is misconstrued or taken the wrong way, when I feel like if you really know me and understand me, you understand my intentions
Mm.
and you understand where I'm coming from, that hurts, I think, more than anything, because you didn't listen to me. And I just feel like I talk and I comprehend what other people are saying so much. For you not to listen to me, I find it painful.
I feel that when you have such good intentions and you try to communicate this and then it gets misconstrued and pushed back and it is a surprise
And
where that intention is misunderstood and it comes back with vengeance or hate or some other kind of, but yeah. No, I'm trying to think about a similar moment of what, what is that vulnerable? What is mine's a little bit lighter, but my vulnerable thing is I was so pressured by being on this with you that I just fermented my beard right before the show. This is all gray and white. And I literally dyed the beard because I was like, I'm going to be on screen with Arisce. I gotta dye my beard because I was too embarrassed to like show that I am like white and it's gray and I look like Gandalf. And I was like sitting there just fermenting my beard.
I would have loved that.
And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And then then it's like all like dark up here. So I was like, oh, I'm trying to rub it out and get all ready for the show.
I am so impressed right now. That's amazing. I'm so sorry I made you feel that way. I did not. I think it's great when people go gray naturally. I'm totally gonna go gray naturally. I'm totally gonna do that.
I thought that too, but then
I feel like you look younger because your skin's still intact.
So yeah, but since the pandemic, this all went white, and I was like, well, I'm gonna be with Arisce. I gotta get this on point. I gotta get my hair done. Like I was like, I gotta get on point. I gotta get on point.
I honestly, it's so flattering that people feel pressure to be impressive. I don't even think about it. I'm just like, I'm not that impressive. But,
oh my goodness. So we've got to go. I would love to hear more about you and comedy. And do you perform? Are you performing? Have you been out and about? Any shows coming up? What is coming up? Let us know.
I am going to be gone for a while, filming something that I cannot talk about. And so I'll be gone for a while. You'll notice on my social media because I won't be there. And so I can't talk about that, but then I'm not touring. I'm not doing comedy right now. I quit like mid-pandemic because the Zoom comedy shows were not it for me. Just because I do a lot of crowd work. Like I love the audience. Me and the audience are making love as we speak. Like we are good friends. They always get me. Like
I want to be in your audience. I would love to be in your audience.
That was fun. But no, so because I flirt with the audience, I have fun. I jump in there, I ask them about their trans experiences. Have you ever been with a trans person? Tell me about it. What happened? And so, and I have so much fun with it, and I love the response I get, and I feel like I'm changing hearts, changing minds, changing the world with comedy. Because I'm not like, you need to think this. I'm like, that was fun, wasn't it? Anyway,
I love it.
So yeah, like I love to have fun with it because as a trans comic, I will lean into that because no one else can say the things I'm saying. And so if I'm going to talk about the prices at Wegmans, like whatever grocery store you've got, if you're going to talk about the prices there, any comic can do that and they can steal your joke. Whereas when I'm doing crowd work and I'm talking about the trans experience and your trans experience and bringing you into mine, you're probably going to vote blue this time around. Because I think that trans woman we saw on stage the other day should have rights. And so that's how you trick people into being on your side. And it's not that I'm tricking them.
You don't trick people.
You're seeing me as a human being. You're learning.
Laughter creates unity.
Yes.
And understanding. And I think that is brilliant. I can't wait to see you on stage. I want to be in your audience.
Yeah. I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back to the stage just because Zoom is not it for me. I was like in the crowd. I did fine on Zoom, but it got boring and I need laughs and I
love both.
Yeah,
I love both.
I like the energy.
Misfit Toys, we're launching our summer semester in a couple of weeks, and that's going to be exciting. And then we're teaming up with Aiden Park, and we're doing a special Phoenix Rising show and tour August 5th through the 8th, where we're going to be running workshops online and in Phoenix, and then taking people and putting them up on stage with other professional LGBTQ comedians August 5th through the 8th. So I'm super excited to empower and hear some new stories, especially Native stories. I have yet to hear LGBTQ Native American stories, and I'm super excited to hear their truths. And we have all types of shapes and sizes, genders, sexualities, so I'm super excited to have this rainbow of comedians to work with this August in Phoenix. So that's gonna be a fun tour. So
that will be fun.
So thank you everybody for tuning in from UK. Ray, we love you. From New Zealand, New York, LA. Oh, hello. My German Shepherd's in the back, but he's not, he's it has just been such a pleasure, such a joy, such an inspiration. I can't wait to see what comes next. So love you, world. Thank you so much.